figure of a man, the upper part of the man, and there's these lines coming from his mouth. And that means he's speaking, he's talking. And then right next to that figure you see two marks, two. So what that means is there are two men that were speaking. They were telling a story. And they were telling a story to this young man. And this young man, years went by, and at some point in time he told me the story. And that man was my father. Now I'm going to tell you the same story if I remember it correctly. One thing I forgot already. You see a line leading from that man figure, goes over here to that thing, that object. And what that object represents is a huge boulder, big stone. And the significance of that is among the Six Nations, the Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, Seneca, and Onondaga, or Tuscarora rather, there's that one group that's called Oneida. In their language they refer to themselves as the people of the great stone, or the people of the upright stone. So that means these two men were Oneida men, and they were telling my father this story. This story happened many winters and summers in the past, with that arrow going backward long, long ago. There was an Oneida village that was located on this very big lake, and that lake is still there, and that's called Oneida Lake. And that's where some of the Oneidas used to live. It's not too far from Syracuse, New York. Woo! Well, associated with this village was this man. And you could see right next to him is an image of a wolf, and there's a mark on his forehead. And that's what that man's name was. It was Wolfmark, for some reason. And he probably belonged to the Wolf clan. Now this fellow, although he had many relatives and friends in that village, he preferred to live deep in the forest, and he didn't live within the village, although he did spend time there. And nearby, into the forest, was a small hut, and that's where he lived. And as you can see, it's not too far from the village. He lived there alone, although he wasn't totally alone. He always had with him these two men, these two wolves rather. They were like dogs, only very much like a wolf. And you can see from that design, it looks something like a wolf. They're very big, very intelligent dogs, and he was friends with them. When it came time to eat a meal, Wolfmark would prepare the meal, and he would always share with those two animals to give them sustenance. If one of those animals got sick or he had an injured paw, he'd always help the animal by curing that, putting some medicine on it. He took good care of those animals like you should if you have any kind of pet. Now how these two wolf dogs helped Wolfmark was when it came time to hunt the deer. As you know, a deer can run very fast, and it's very difficult to catch up to them. But those two wolf dogs, they also could run very fast. And often when he went hunting for the deer, the wolf dogs would go around in front of the deer and drive them back, and eventually he'd make them as a target, and he would kill them. Then he would prepare, he would give thanksgiving to the spirit of the deer for giving him sustenance, and then he would skin the deer, and then often what he would do, he'd take that deer, put it on his back, and he walked that distance into the village. And in the village, there were some families that had a whole bunch of kids, and he would share the meat from that deer with those people. Or there might be an elderly couple whose children had grown up and moved away, and he would always see to it that they had something to eat. He was a good guy all around. Another thing about Wolfmark, even though he couldn't run as fast as the deer to catch it, he could run very, very fast. And that's a symbol for speed right there. He could run almost as fast as a deer. And there's an Iroquois sport called lacrosse, or Dewa-a-la-dum. And here's an example right here of a lacrosse stick. And it was a game where you catch the ball and then hoop in a net, and then you run and you throw it through a goal to make a point. And that game is still played today in some universities and schools. Well, Wolfmark, not only could he run very fast, he was extremely agile. He could dodge back and forth. And often when he played the game of lacrosse, he was the one that would make the score. into the net, into the hoop. Now, within any community, there's times when the people gather in a council, and that's what this symbol is here. They're gathered in that council. And sometimes there's problems that beset the community, and the people, the leadership, try to figure a way to resolve the problem.